Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm going to take a look at this Fanduel DraftKings Week 12 lineup. We got a couple Thursday night games this week, so taking into consideration, I didn't look at that. This lineup is for Sunday and Monday night, so I mean, if you can still play this lineup on Thursday, obviously, and just place the guys you like in better. Use this as reference or play the exact card. But I just wanted you to know when I made this card, I did not take a look. I did not consider any of the Thursday night games, Thursday night players. Looking at this lineup, start at kicker and defense. Like we talked about, I always like to try to start there. Seems like the lottery pick of your week. So I'm just looking for bang for buck. Going to defense, scraping the bottom of the barrel, the first playable option I see is Cleveland against Baltimore for 4,600. With Flacco out, Steve Smith out, Forsett out, it seems like a good of a week as any for Browns to step up. The defense has scored pretty well in fantasy week by week. And this matchup isn't as scary as it would have looked earlier. So I'm going with it. At kicker, we've got Boswell playing for Pittsburgh. Same theory, just looking at the bottom, the cheapest players first, trying to find an option. Boswell at $4,500 playing Seattle. Seattle's defense, I think, will slow Pittsburgh, but they're not going to stop Pittsburgh. Hopefully they'll turn a couple touchdown drives into field goal drives. We can take advantage of that. Going to tight end, another spot that I saved some cash at, $5,600 for Gilmore. And I know that's a funny pick considering we just talked about how bad Baltimore's offense is. But with Flacco gone, with Forsett gone, with Smith gone, Gilmore's kind of the focal point now of that offense, if not by default. And with Schaub stepping in for Flacco, he's more capable than I think he gets credit for, Schaub is. And back in his days in Houston, he made great use of his tight ends, Owen Daniels. His career years were spent in Houston with Schaub throwing in the ball. So, I mean, Schaub obviously likes utilizing his tight end. He's got a good one here. He got a talented one. Gilmore's been putting up, productive weeks. $5,600. I like the price. I like the matchup, and I like his situation there. So we're gonna go with that. Moving on to quarterback, Fitzpatrick against Miami. I think this is going to be a low own percentage pick. I don't think a lot of people's looking at Fitzpatrick to have a good week. He put up 16 fantasy points last time he played Miami, which isn't exactly what you're looking for. I'd like to push 20 or even more, but I think he has the capability of doing that. Not too many teams have had trouble passing on Miami. The few bad times we've had that is when teams just ran on Miami. But you had Brian Hoyer put up 4 touchdowns against them. Romo had a huge game against them. So I like the matchup. I think Fitzpatrick can go out there. He's been throwing some picks here lately. He's not been playing great, but he's still getting 2 touchdowns plus each game. I don't see Miami slowing that down. And it's a great price at $7,200. On all those same points we just talked about, go to receiver, Eric Decker. I like Eric Decker at receiver for basically all the reasons we just talked about Fitzpatrick. Sammy Watkins just put up 160 yards against Miami a couple weeks ago. He's done nothing all year. His high of the season is against Miami. They're not stopping anybody. So for all the reasons I'm picking Fitzpatrick, I'm picking Decker. The $7,100 price tag on him is higher than I would like to pay, honestly, but I feel good about it, and I don't see any options cheaper that I much prefer. So Eric Decker and Fitzpatrick against Miami. At running back, I'm trying to save some cash this week. We've got Rawls against Pittsburgh. Marshawn Lynch is highly doubtful for the game. Looks like he's going to be out. And Rawls just put up 200 yards last week in his absence. I don't like chasing production. Usually like a player does 200 yards, everybody tries to get him. Everybody bets on him, and the next week he flounders. I'm not a fan of doing that, but I am a fan of his situation. He's going to get 20 carries against these guys. I don't see him breaking 200 yards again, but I do think he's a good bet for 80 to 100 yards and 1 to 2 touchdown scores. And for 6,300, I'll take that. And maybe last week wasn't a fluke. I don't like I just said, I don't like chasing production, but 200 yards, maybe this kid's for real. I'd like to be there for it if it is, because if he does that again, this will be your last week paying that kind of money for him. Another guy stepping in at running back is Ware. This one's a little risky. Kansas City's running game this year has looked great. Jamal Charles obviously was dominating there, but it's Jamal Charles. That's what everybody thought. But when he went out, West stepped in, and he's put up 166 yards, 125 yards. They haven't slowed down any. So now that West is stepping out, a hamstring injury, Ware's the next man up. Looking at a high workload, probably 20 carries. So, I mean, $6,100, I'll take it. The risk to this is West hasn't been ruled out. There's still a chance he plays. Now, you've got some options if that happens. The first option being, as you can see, I have about $100 remaining on this card in salary. If West would play, you could always use that extra $100 to get Tevin Coleman of the Falcons in case Devontae Freeman can't play. He's only $100 more than Ware, and if Freeman can't go, you can put the money in right there, and you're back in the same boat. Good offense, 20-touch carry guy. Shouldn't be a huge drop-off. But once again, on the same thing, Devontae Freeman's also not ruled out yet. He had his first little concussion protocol, and it went pretty well. So he's still got a chance to play this week. So on that same thing, if West would go, if Freeman would go, for $6,100, the same price, you can get Danny Woodhead for the Chargers. They're playing the Jaguars. It's a good matchup. The negative to it is Woodhead's done his most damage playing from behind. Chargers have to make a comeback. They're passing a lot. That's where Woodhead shines. He gets a lot of catches, a lot of yards, and he takes advantage of that. That's not going to be the case, I wouldn't imagine. Jaguars' offense is a little bit more potent than it was last year, and it's really becoming a little bit of a, they're becoming a decent little offensive team. But I don't think they're going to go out there and blow out the Chargers. I don't think Chargers are going to be playing far from behind, so it's going to be a risky play. Woodhead dominates red zone carries and red zone looks there, so he's still a huge touchdown threat. But you would be banking on that a little bit. You're going to need 5-6 catches. You're going to need pay dirt, and hopefully he can give you 30-40 yards rushing. It's still a good bet. You're going to get some options there, but that's what you're looking at. That's the risk of that position. You really need Ware to go. If West does come back and Ware can't go, you really need Freeman to miss so that you can just plug in Coleman. But if not, you do have an option in Woodhead, and it could be, he's had games. He's had some 20-plus fantasy games. You're always looking down the barrel. It could be that week. But the money we've saved on this lineup brings us to our superstar portion of it. We've got Beckham and Hopkins. Beckham's playing Washington. We just watched Carolina pick them apart. If Ted Ginn can have any luck at all against Washington, Beckham will destroy him. So we've got Beckham playing Washington. I don't want to miss out on that matchup. I've got him in. And then we've got DeAndre Hopkins, because no matter what the matchup is, Hopkins finds a way. And so you're looking at that. That's the meat of this lineup that's going to carry our team. Hopkins and Beckham easily could get you 40, 50, 60 points combined. And then you've got a lot of sleepers, a lot of great situations to go with it. So that's week 12. That's where I'm placing my money. That's where I recommend you place some money. But that's up to y'all. Either way, good luck to everybody, man. Hope y'all hit big. Mainly, hell, y'all hit big, I hit big. So I hope we roll it together. And nothing else, I'll see y'all next week, man. Later.